When was the last time you truly felt present? Not productive, not busy, not entertained, present. When was the last time you watched a sunrise without reaching for your phone? When was the last time you sat in silence and listened to the world around you? When was the last time your heart felt lighter than your schedule? For many of us, life has become a collection of obligations, alarms, meetings, deadlines, notifications. We rush from one responsibility to another. One week becomes another. 1 month becomes another. 1 year becomes another. And somewhere along the way, we stop noticing the beauty hidden inside ordinary moments. The smell of rain, the warmth of sunlight, the laughter of strangers, the wonder of simply being alive. Perhaps that is why we travel, not to escape life, but to remember it. Some journeys begin with a ticket, others begin with a dream. This one begins with a feeling that there must be something more, a feeling that somewhere beyond the familiar horizon, a different rhythm of life is waiting. And that feeling leads us here, to a land suspended between continents, between empires, between memory and possibility. A place where East meets West, where ancient civilizations still whisper through stone, where hospitality feels sacred, where every doorway seems to lead into another story. Türkiye. A country that does not merely welcome visitors, it invites transformation. This is not a tour. This is not a travel guide. This is an experience, an invitation to slow down, to notice, to wonder, to remember. Because by the time this journey ends, you may discover that the destination was never the point. The destination was you. The first thing you notice is the water. Before the skyline, before the monuments, before the history, the water, the Bosphorus. A narrow ribbon of blue connecting seas, continents, cultures, and centuries. Stand quietly on the deck of the ferry. Feel the wind against your face. Not harsh, not cold. Just enough to remind you that you are moving. Tiny droplets of sea spray drift through the air. The scent of salt mingles with freshly brewed tea. Behind you is Europe. Ahead of you is Asia. And somehow it feels perfectly normal. Only in Istanbul can crossing continents become part of your morning commute. The ferry horn sounds, deep, resonant, timeless. Its echo rolls across the water like a memory. You lean against the railing. The city unfolds before you. Domes, minarets, apartment buildings, fishing boats, ancient walls, modern bridges, everything existing together, not competing, not replacing, simply coexisting. And suddenly you realize that Istanbul is not defined by contrasts. It is defined by harmony. The old does not fear the new does not erase the old. They dance together. Like two musicians performing the same melody from different generations. A waiter carries a tray of tea through the crowd. The glasses glow ruby red in the morning sunlight. You wrap your fingers around one. The glass is warm, the tea is strong, slightly bitter, perfectly comforting. You take a sip, and for a brief moment, nothing else matters. No deadlines, no obligations, no future, no past, only this ferry, this tea, this morning, this city. The realization arrives quietly. Perhaps happiness has always been simpler than we imagined. Step away from the waterfront. Let yourself get lost, not accidentally, intentionally, because the best discoveries are rarely found on itineraries. Balat unfolds like a watercolor painting. Colors spill from every street. Deep blues, warm reds, golden yellows, pink facades weathered by time. Laundry dances between buildings overhead. A cat watches from a windowsill with complete confidence. Another stretches lazily in a patch of sunlight. No one seems rushed. No one seems concerned. The city breathes differently here. You begin to notice details. The texture of old stone beneath your feet. The aroma of fresh bread drifting through narrow alleys. The sound of a distant accordion. The laughter of neighbors greeting one another. Moments that would disappear unnoticed back home suddenly feel important. Because here, life is not hidden behind glass. It happens in the streets, in conversations and shared meals, in small gestures. Then comes the smell. Warm bread, toasted sesame, butter, flour, comfort. You follow it instinctively. The bakery appears before you. Inside, trays of golden bread cool beside the window. The baker smiles. No sales pitch, no performance, just genuine warmth. The kind that makes strangers feel welcome. You take a piece of bread, still warm, still soft. The crust crackles slightly as you tear it apart. Simple, perfect, memorable. And perhaps that is Istanbul's greatest gift. It teaches you to appreciate the extraordinary hidden inside ordinary things. A cup of tea, a loaf of bread, a ferry ride, a conversation, a sunrise. Moments we often overlook. Moments that become unforgettable when we finally slow down enough to experience them. By now, Istanbul has begun to change you. Not dramatically, not all at once, but quietly. The way sunlight changes a room, the way music changes a memory, the way one kind smile from a stranger can soften something inside you that you did not even realize had become guarded. At first, you came here to see the city. Now you begin to understand. The city is also seeing you. It sees the hurried way you walk, the way your hand still reaches for your phone, the way your mind drifts toward things waiting back home, messages, responsibilities, unfinished plans. The old rhythm of your life still follows you through the streets, but Istanbul is patient. It does not force you to slow down. It simply gives you more reasons to. A doorway glowing with a lantern light, a kettle singing in the corner of a cafe, a cat sleeping peacefully on a stack of folded carpets, a child laughing as pigeons scatter into the sky, a man carefully polishing copper until it catches the afternoon sun, one moment after another, each one small, each one ordinary, each one quietly asking you to return to yourself. Then you step into the Grand Bazaar, and the world becomes color. Not just color you see, color you feel. Gold spills from shop windows. Blue ceramics shimmer like pieces of the sea. Red carpets hang like stories waiting to be told. Lanterns glow above you in amber, emerald, violet, and rose. Every direction offers another invitation. Come closer. Touch this, taste that. Listen. Remember, the air is thick with scent. Cinnamon, cardamom, dried rose petals, leather, coffee, warm sugar. There is something almost overwhelming about it. Not chaotic. Alive. Deeply, beautifully alive. You pass a stall where Turkish delight is stacked in careful rows. Pistachio, pomegranate, honey, rose. A small square is offered to you, soft between your fingers, powdered sugar clinging lightly to your skin. You taste it, sweet, floral, delicate, and for a moment you understand how memory is made, not from grand events, but from tiny sensations that attach themselves to the heart. A taste, a smell, a sound, a certain angle of light, a stranger's generosity. A place becomes unforgettable when your senses begin collecting pieces of it, and here Istanbul gives generously. Inside one quiet shop, away from the busiest corridor, a carpet is unfolded before you, slowly, ceremonially, as if it were not an object, but a memory being opened. The fabric rolls across the floor, deep red, midnight blue, gold like candlelight. The patterns are intricate, not random, never random. Every shape seems to carry intention, protection, love, fertility, journey, home. You kneel closer. Your fingers brush the surface, thousands of knots. Thousands of decisions, thousands of quiet hours. You begin to think about how much of modern life is built for speed, fast meals, fast messages, fast opinions, fast entertainment, fast everything. And then you touch something that took months to make, maybe years. Something created slowly by hands that understood patience. And without anyone needing to explain it, you feel the lesson. Beauty takes time. Love takes time. Healing takes time. Becoming yourself again takes time. There are things in life that cannot be rushed without losing their soul. And perhaps you are one of them. Later, you find a small cafe hidden beneath an old archway. The kind of place you would miss if you were walking too quickly. Inside, the air is warm. The walls are lined with photographs. The tables are small, the chairs are worn smooth by years of conversation. You sit, not because you plan to, because the moment invites you. Turkish coffee arrives in a small cup, dark, thick, fragrant. It is not meant to be rushed. Nothing here as you take a careful sip. It is strong enough to command your attention. Bitter at first, then earthy, then strangely comforting. A flavor that feels older than the room, older than the street, older than the city. You place the cup down. Outside, the crowd continues moving. But inside, time seems to gather around you and sit still. You think about all the moments you have hurried through in your life. Meals eaten while distracted, conversations half heard, sunsets ignored, people loved but not always fully noticed. Travel has a way of revealing what hurry has stolen. And Istanbul, with its coffee, its tea, its ferries, its stones, keeps returning the same truth to you in different forms. Slow down. You are here. Be here. As evening approaches, you climb to a rooftop. The city stretches endlessly around you. Domes catching the last light, minarets piercing the sky, the Bosphorus turning silver. For a while, nothing needs to be said. Then it begins. One voice, rising gently, then another, then another. The call to prayer moves across the city like a wave of sound, from hill to hill, from mosque to mosque, across rooftops, across water, across centuries. You do not have to understand every word to understand the feeling. The city pauses. Not completely, but enough. Enough for the sound to enter the spaces between things, between buildings, between thoughts, between breaths. For a moment, Istanbul feels united by longing. The longing to be guided, the longing to be forgiven, the longing to belong to something greater than ourselves. And standing there above the city, you feel something inside you become quiet. Not empty, quiet. There's a difference. Empty feels like loss. Quiet feels like peace. You look out over the rooftops and realize that every person below is carrying a world inside them. Joy, fear, memory, faith, regret, hope, just like you. And suddenly Istanbul no longer feels like a city of millions. It feels like a city of souls, each one searching, each one loving, each one trying, each one passing through time just like you. The sunset arrives slowly, gold first, then amber, then rose. The city does not disappear into darkness, it transforms. Windows begin to glow. Fairy lights appear on the water. The bridges shimmer. The sky deepens. And you sit there, watching. Really watching. For the first time in a long time, you are not thinking about what comes next. You are not planning. Not comparing, not documenting, not performing happiness. You are simply inside it. And perhaps this is why Istanbul feels so powerful. It does not only show you beauty, it teaches you how to receive it. There is a kind of love that arrives quietly, not with thunder, not with grand declarations, but through repetition. A cup of tea, a ferry crossing, a call to prayer, a street cat brushing against your leg, a stranger making space for you at a crowded table, a sunset that asks nothing from you except your attention. By the end of the day, you realize something has shifted. The city has not changed. You have, only slightly, but enough to notice. Night does not quiet Istanbul. It reveals another version of it. The streets glow beneath lantern light. Food carts send steam into the cool air. Roasted chestnuts crackle over open heat. Corn turns slowly on metal grates. The scent of butter and smoke follows you down the street. Music rises from somewhere ahead. A violin, then a drum, then voices joining in. You walk without needing a destination. And this may be one of travel's greatest freedoms. To move without urgency, to follow sound, to follow scent, to follow curiosity. At home, wandering can feel like wasted time. Here, it feels like devotion. You pass shop windows filled with sweets, baklava layered with pistachio, honey glistening beneath glass. You taste a piece, crisp, sticky, buttery, sweet enough to make you close your eyes. And suddenly you are laughing, not because anything dramatic has happened, but because joy has returned in small pieces. A flavor, a song, a breeze, a streetlight reflected on stone. The simple freedom of being somewhere unfamiliar and feeling strangely safe. You keep walking, and with every step, the city becomes less foreign. Not because you fully understand it, but because you have allowed yourself to feel it. Later, you return to the water. The same Bosphorus that greeted you in the morning now glows beneath the night. Ferries move like lanterns across the dark. The city reflects itself in the waves, and you stand there quietly. Something about water invites honesty. Perhaps because it never pretends to be still, it moves, it changes, it carries, it reflects. You think about the person you were before this journey began. The person rushing, planning, carrying invisible weight. The person who believed rest had to be earned. The person who confused being busy with being alive. And you feel compassion for that version of yourself, not shame, compassion. Because life can make anyone forget wonder, forget softness, forget the sound of their own heart beneath all the noise. But tonight, Istanbul has helped you remember. Not everything. Not yet. But enough to know that this journey is no longer only about seeing Turkey. It is about becoming open again. Open to beauty. Open to stillness. Open to surprise. Open to the possibility that life may still have more to give than you allowed yourself to believe. The ferry horn sounds again, deep in the night. And this time, it feels less like an arrival, more like a calling. Tomorrow, the journey will move inland, away from the water, away from the city, into valleys carved by time, into silence, into Cappadocia, a place where the earth itself seems to dream. But before you leave Istanbul, you look back one more time, at the lights, at the domes, at the bridges, at the water, and you understand. Some cities impress you, some cities entertain you, some cities overwhelm you. But Istanbul does something far more intimate. It looks into the hurried places inside you and teaches them how to breathe. Some places are beautiful. Some places are impressive. Some places are unforgettable. And then there are places that feel impossible, places that seem less like geography and more like imagination. Cappadocia is one of those places. The first time you see it, your mind struggles to make sense of it. Stone towers rising from the earth, valleys sculpted by wind and time, ancient caves carved into cliffs, landscapes so unusual they feel borrowed from a dream. You stand quietly, looking, trying to understand. But this is not a place that asks to be understood. It asks to be experienced. And perhaps that is exactly what makes it extraordinary. Long before sunrise, before the world, before the valleys reveal their secrets, Cappadocia is already preparing for morning. You arrive while darkness still covers the land. The air is cool, fresh, the kind of air that fills your lungs and immediately wakes every sense. Around you, giant balloons rest quietly against the ground, still, patient, waiting, like sleeping giants. Then suddenly, a burst of fire, a roar, a wave of warmth. Light spills across the darkness. Another burner ignites, then another. Orange flames leap into the sky. The balloons begin to breathe, slowly, gracefully, coming to life. The excitement around you grows. Yet strangely, the morning remains peaceful, because everyone understands they are about to witness something special, something that photographs can never fully capture, something that must be felt. The basket rises, gently, almost imperceptibly. There is no dramatic takeoff, no sudden movement, only a quiet separation from the earth. And before you realize it, you are floating. The valleys beneath you begin to expand. The landscape stretches in every direction. Stone formations cast long shadows across the ground. Ancient cave dwellings emerge from the cliffs. The world grows larger, and somehow your worries grow smaller. You look down, then out, then up, and suddenly you see them. Hundreds of balloons, red, yellow, blue, white, drifting across the sky. Silent, weightless, beautiful. For a moment, it feels as though the entire horizon has learned to fly. And somewhere inside you, something begins to awaken. Not excitement, not happiness, wonder, pure wonder. A feeling many people spend years searching for. A feeling many people forget entirely. A feeling that reminds us life is still capable of surprising us. Remember the person you were before. The world became complicated, before bills, before responsibilities, before stress, before disappointment, before all the things that taught you to be practical. Remember the dreamer, the child who looked at clouds and saw possibilities. The child who believed adventure was waiting around every corner. The child who felt excitement without needing a reason. That person is still here, not gone, not lost, only buried beneath years of noise. And as you drift above Cappadocia, that forgotten part of yourself begins to emerge again. Not because someone taught you something, not because someone inspired you, because wonder itself has a way of bringing us back to life. The land beneath you has been shaped over millions of years. Volcanoes, wind, rain, time. The greatest artist of all. Nothing here was rushed, nothing forced. Everything became what it was meant to become through patience. Perhaps there's a lesson in that. Modern life often tells us we should already have everything figured out. Our careers, our future, our purpose, our identity. But nature speaks differently. Nature says, take your time, become, grow, evolve, transform. The valleys of Cappadocia did not appear overnight. Neither will the best parts of you. Later that day, you enter a cave, not a museum, not a ruin, a living space, a home carved directly into stone. The walls are cool beneath your fingertips, the ceilings curve, naturally above you. Every surface carries the mark of human ingenuity. Generations of people adapted to this landscape, worked with it, lived within it, respected it. There is something comforting about these spaces, perhaps because they remind us that luxury is not always excess. Sometimes luxury is simplicity, stillness, silence, shelter. A place where your thoughts can finally slow down enough to be heard. As evening arrives, the crowds disappear, the balloons are gone, the valleys grow quiet, and another version of Cappadocia emerges, one that belongs to the night. You sit outside beneath the stars, far from city lights, far from distraction, far from urgency. Above you, thousands of stars. More than you can count, more than you can comprehend. The same stars watched by travelers centuries ago. The same stars that watched ancient civilizations rise and fall. The same stars that remind us how small we are. And strangely, how connected we are. For a moment, the universe feels both enormous and intimate. You think about your life, your journey, the people you love, the dreams you still carry, the fears you still hold. And somehow the night makes room for all of it. Without judgment, without pressure, without answers. Just space. Sometimes that is enough. Before arriving here, you believed Cappadocia was famous for its balloons, its valleys, its landscapes, its photographs. Those things are extraordinary, but they are not what you will remember most. You will remember how it made you feel. The feeling of standing before something larger than yourself. The feeling of rediscovering wonder. The feeling of slowing down enough to notice beauty again. The feeling of remembering that life is not merely something to manage. It is something to experience. As the final balloon drifts into the morning sky, you realize something. The journey is changing. Istanbul taught you how to breathe. Cappadocia taught you how to dream. And ahead lies another chapter, a deeper chapter, one that will lead you beyond the famous landmarks, beyond the postcards, into the heart of the nation itself, into Anatolia, where Türkiye reveals not only its beauty, but its soul. There is a version of Turkey that many travelers never see, a version hidden beyond the famous skylines, beyond the postcards, beyond the landmarks that fill travel brochures. It does not announce itself. It does not compete for attention. It simply exists quietly, patiently, authentically. This is Anatolia, the heart of the nation, the place where Türkiye slows down and reveals itself. And if Istanbul is where continents meet, and Cappadocia is where dreams take flight, Anatolia is where the soul lives. The road unfolds before you. No skyscrapers, no traffic, no urgency, only open space, the kind of space many people no longer experience. The kind of space that allows your thoughts to breathe. Outside the window, life moves differently. Farmers begin their day. Animals wander through fields. Smoke rises from village chimneys. The landscape feels timeless. Not because nothing changes, because change happens slowly, naturally, without force. For hours, you watch the countryside pass. And somewhere along the way, you stop checking the time. You stop wondering what comes next. You stop measuring the day. You simply allow yourself to be inside it. And that simple act begins to feel revolutionary. Eventually, the road leads you to something unexpected. A table, not a restaurant, not a tourist attraction, just a table, simple, wooden, surrounded by conversation, by warmth, by welcome. Food begins arriving. Fresh bread still warm from the oven. Tomatoes bright with color. Olives harvested nearby. Cheese made by local hands. Tea poured endlessly. The meal is simple, yet somehow it feels extraordinary. Perhaps because the greatest ingredient is not on the table, it is around it. Connection. There is a certain kind of hospitality that cannot be manufactured, cannot be marketed, cannot be staged. It comes from the genuine belief that a guest should feel at home. And throughout Anatolia, that belief remains alive. You notice something beautiful. Nobody seems rushed. Nobody eats while staring at a screen. Nobody appears distracted. People talk, listen, laugh, share. The meal is not merely nourishment. It is an experience, a gathering, a celebration of presence. And sitting there, surrounded by simple food and genuine warmth, you begin to wonder if modern life has forgotten something essential. The days in Anatolia follow rhythms older than memory. The sun rises, work begins, tea is shared, meals are prepared, conversations continue, the sun sets, stars appear, and life begins again. There's comfort in that rhythm, not monotony, stability, a reminder that not every moment needs to be optimized, not every second needs to be productive. Nature itself does not rush, the trees do not hurry. The mountains do not compete. The rivers do not compare themselves to one another. They simply become what they were created to be. And perhaps people were never meant to live so differently. Perhaps fulfillment was never hidden inside speed. Perhaps it was hidden inside attention, inside gratitude, inside learning how to be fully present. The countryside seems to whisper this lesson over and over again, through every field, every village, every sunrise, every shared cup of tea. Later that afternoon, you step inside a village tea house. The room is simple, comfortable, timeless. Sunlight spills across wooden floors. Tea glasses glow amber beneath the light. The air smells faintly of tea leaves and tobacco. Conversations drift through the room. Some serious, some humorous, some impossible to understand. Yet somehow the atmosphere feels familiar, because every culture has places like this. Places where people gather, not because they have to, because they want to. Places where stories are exchanged, friendships maintained, life discussed, the tea arrives. You take a sip, then another. Outside, the world continues moving, but inside, time softens, and you realize something. Belonging is not always about where you were born. Sometimes belonging is simply the feeling of being welcomed, the feeling of being accepted exactly as you are. For a traveler far from home, that feeling can become unforgettable. As evening settles across the landscape, the countryside begins to glow. The sun lowers toward the horizon. The hills become gold, then amber, then bronze. Shadows lengthen. Birds return to their nests. The day exhales. And so do you. Standing beneath the evening sky, you begin reflecting on everything this journey has already given you. Istanbul taught you how to slow down. Cappadocia taught you how to dream. Anatolia teaches you something equally important: how to belong. Not through status, not through achievement, not through possessions, but through connection. Through shared meals, shared stories, shared humanity. The lesson feels simple, yet profound, because the world often tells us we need more success, more wealth, more recognition, more accomplishments. Anatolia quietly offers a different perspective. Perhaps what we truly need is less distraction, less hurry, less noise, and more moments that remind us what matters. Night arrives gently. The villages grow quiet. The fields disappear into shadow. Above you, countless stars illuminate the sky. And for a while, you simply look upward. No photographs, no words, no expectations, only wonder, only gratitude. Only the realization that the world is far larger, far older, and far more beautiful than we often allow ourselves to remember. Tomorrow, the journey continues toward one of the greatest cities of the ancient world, toward marble streets and forgotten voices, toward a place where history still echoes through stone, a place called Ephesus. But tonight, beneath the Anatolian sky, you carry a different feeling. Not excitement, not anticipation, belonging. And perhaps that is the greatest gift a journey can offer. The feeling that somewhere, even far from home, you have found a piece of yourself. Every journey eventually arrives at a place that changes its meaning, a place that asks deeper questions, a place that stops being about where you are and begins becoming about who you are. For this journey, that place is Ephesus. Before the crowds arrive, before the cameras, before the voices, Ephesus belongs to the morning. The air is cool, still, sacred. You walk slowly through ancient streets, marble beneath your feet, columns rising toward the sky, stone carrying the memory of 2,000 years. And almost immediately, something feels different, not because these ruins are old, because they are familiar, not familiar to your mind, familiar to something deeper, because every person who has ever lived has asked the same questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What truly matters? And somehow those questions seem to linger here, waiting, echoing through stone. Close your eyes for a moment. Now imagine the city alive. The sound of merchants opening shops, the scent of fresh bread drifting through the streets, children running through marketplaces, scholars debating ideas, travelers arriving from distant lands, families sharing meals, friends exchanging stories, lovers making promises, the city breathing, living, thriving. Everything that feels permanent in a human life, everything that once felt certain, everything that once felt important. And yet, all of it passed. The people disappeared, the voices faded, the city became stone, and now only echoes remain. There's something humbling about that realization, not frightening, liberating, because it reminds us that time eventually touches everything, every empire, every achievement, every possession, Every title, every worry, every fear, time carries them all away. Which means perhaps we should spend less time holding tightly and more time living deeply. Then you arrive at the Library of Celsus, one of the most beautiful structures of the ancient world. Its facade rises before you like a memory refusing to disappear. Stone columns, intricate carvings, perfect symmetry. The architecture is magnificent, but what it represents is even more powerful: knowledge, curiosity, human potential. Thousands of scrolls were once stored here. Ideas, dreams, discoveries, questions. Generations of people came seeking understanding. And standing before it today, you cannot help but wonder, what knowledge have we gained? And what wisdom have we lost? Modern life gives us access to almost everything. Yet many people feel disconnected, distracted, overwhelmed. Perhaps information alone was never enough. Perhaps wisdom comes from something else: experience, presence, reflection. The very things this journey has been teaching you all along. You continue walking. The path opens, and suddenly the Great Theater appears, massive, elegant, enduring. 25,000 people once gathered here, 25,000 voices, 25,000 stories. Imagine the laughter, the applause, the excitement, the arguments, the celebrations. Imagine believing that moment would last forever. Yet today, only silence remains. And strangely, the silence speaks louder than the crowd ever could, because it asks a question, a simple question. If your life were reduced to memories, which moments would matter most? Not your job title, not your bank account, not your social media profile. Moments. Would it be the time you laughed until tears filled your eyes? The conversation that changed your life? The sunset you stopped to watch? The person you loved? The risks you took? The places you explored? The kindness you offered? The life you truly lived? Standing here, the answer feels obvious. Yet back home, it is so easy to forget. Somewhere in the city, two people once fell in love. You do not know their names. History does not remember them. No monument honors them. No book records their story. Yet they existed. They walked these streets, shared conversations, shared dreams, shared hopes for a future neither could see. Perhaps they promised forever. Perhaps they believed they had more time. Perhaps they imagined growing old together. Today, their names are gone. Yet somehow their story remains, because love leaves traces, not in stone, not in monuments, but in the human experience itself. Every generation loves, every generation hopes, every generation dreams, every generation eventually becomes memory. And realizing that does not make life smaller. It makes it infinitely more precious. Until now, this journey has taught you how to slow down, how to dream, how to belong. Ephesus teaches something deeper, how to value time, not manage it, value it. There's a difference. Time is not merely a resource. It is life itself, every sunrise, every conversation, every opportunity, every moment of joy, every act of kindness, every chance to tell someone you love them. All of it exists within the brief gift of time. And none of us know how much we have. The people who built this city once believed their future stretched endlessly ahead, just as we do. Yet here we stand, walking through the remains of their certainty, learning from their silence. As the sun lowers toward the horizon, Ephesus becomes beautiful in a different way. The ruins soften, the stone glows gold, the shadows grow longer, and for a moment, everything feels suspended between past and present. You stop walking, you stop thinking, you simply stand there, watching, feeling, understanding. Perhaps the purpose of travel is not to escape life. Perhaps it is to see life more clearly, to step outside routine long enough to recognize what matters, to remember what is worth protecting, to remember who you want to become, to remember that every day is temporary, and therefore every day is precious. When you arrived in Ephesus, you expected history, ancient ruins, archaeology, stories of long-forgotten civilizations. And those things are here. But what you leave with is something far more personal: perspective, the realization that life moves quickly, the realization that moments matter, the realization that joy should not be postponed, the realization that someday is not guaranteed. Only today is. Only now is. As darkness settles across the ancient city, you take one final look. The columns, the streets, the theater, the fading light, and you carry a quiet promise forward, to live more fully, to notice more, to love more deeply, to waste less time waiting for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment has been here all along. Tomorrow, the journey continues toward warm waters, white terraces, healing, restoration, a place where the earth itself seems determined to soothe the human spirit. Pamukkale awaits. But tonight, Ephesus leaves you with one final gift: the understanding that life is not measured by how long it lasts. It is measured by how deeply it is lived. There are places that challenge you, places that inspire you, places that change you, and then there are places that heal you. Pamukkale is one of those places. Not because it promises miracles, not because it offers answers, but because it invites you to stop carrying things you no longer need. For centuries, travelers have come here seeking restoration. Some arrived with weary bodies, others with troubled minds, many with burdens, invisible to everyone except themselves. And perhaps that is what healing has always been. Not the absence of pain, the willingness to release it. At first glance, Pamukkale doesn't seem possible. The name means cotton castle. And standing before it, you understand why. White terraces cascade down the hillside like frozen waterfalls, like clouds that somehow settled onto the earth, like snow untouched by footprints, like a dream refusing to disappear. The contrast is breathtaking. Brilliant white stone, crystal clear water, a sky painted in endless shades of blue. For a moment, your mind searches for comparison, something familiar, something logical. But there's nothing quite like this. Pamukkale belongs entirely to itself. And perhaps that is part of its beauty. In a world constantly asking us to compare, compete, and conform, Pamukkale simply exists, unique, unapologetic, completely itself. To walk here, you must remove your shoes. Oh, a small act, yet somehow symbolic. You step barefoot onto the stone. The surface feels smooth, warm from the sun. The water glides around your feet, gentle, comforting, alive. And immediately something changes. Not around you, within you. Because there is something deeply human about direct connection. Skin touching earth, water touching skin. No barriers, no distractions. Just sensation, just presence, just now. You move slowly through the terraces, feeling each step, feeling each ripple, feeling yourself becoming more aware of the moment. The water does not rush. The landscape does not rush, and neither do you. There's a question hidden within every journey, a question few people ask aloud. What are you carrying? Not physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Regrets, disappointments, expectations, fear, stress, grief, pressure, invisible weight. The kind that follows us from place to place. The kind we become so accustomed to carrying that we forget it is there. Perhaps you arrived in Türkiye carrying some of that weight. Perhaps you did not even realize how heavy it had become. But now, standing in warm water beneath an open sky, something begins to shift. Not dramatically, not all at once, but gently, like a knot slowly loosening, like a clenched hand finally opening, like an exhale you didn't know you were holding. The burden is still there, yet somehow it no longer defines the moment, and that itself feels like healing. You kneel beside one of the pools. The water is perfectly still, the reflection almost flawless. Sky above, sky below, clouds drifting across both. And suddenly you realize something. The pool reflects everything placed before it, without judgment, without resistance, without attachment. Perhaps that is another lesson. Life reflects what we bring into it. Fear often reveals more fear. Gratitude often reveals more beauty. Love often reveals more connection. The world may not always change, but the way we see it can. And when perspective changes, everything changes. Long before modern travelers arrived, others came seeking the same thing. The ancient city of Hierapolis once stood above these terraces. People journeyed great distances to reach these waters, to rest, to recover, to begin again. Centuries have passed. Empires have risen and fallen, roads have changed, borders have shifted. Yet the water remains. flowing, patient, endearing. There's comfort in that. A reminder that some things continue despite everything. Hope, resilience, renewal, the human desire to heal. Certain truths survive every generation because they are woven into what it means to be human. As evening approaches, Pamukkale transforms once more. The white terraces become gold, then pink, then violet. The water captures every color, every shift of light, every passing moment. And standing there, watching day surrender to night, you realize something beautiful. Healing rarely arrives as a single moment. It arrives as a series of small moments. A conversation, a sunrise, a walk, a meal, a place, a journey, a realization. Tiny pieces slowly gathering until one day you look back and discover you have changed. Not because you tried, because you allowed yourself to. When you arrived here, you saw beauty. By the time you leave, you understand something deeper. Pamukkale is not merely about water. It is about release. The release of pressure, the release of hurry, the release of expectations, the release of the constant need to control every outcome. For a brief moment, life becomes simple again. Water, sky, light, breath, presence, enough. And perhaps that is the lesson. Not everything needs to be fixed immediately. Not every question requires an answer. Not every chapter needs to be understood before the next begins. Sometimes healing starts the moment we stop demanding certainty, the moment we trust the journey, the moment we allow life to unfold. Tomorrow, the road leads toward another transformation, toward open water, toward endless horizons, toward freedom. The turquoise coast awaits. But tonight, as the final ripples fade beneath the evening sky, you carry something new. Not answers, not conclusions. Peace. And for now, peace is enough. There is a moment during every great journey when something unexpected happens. You stop searching, not because you found every answer, because you no longer need to. The questions soften, the urgency fades, the need to constantly become something else begins to disappear, and in its place, something lighter emerges. Freedom. The turquoise coast is where that feeling lives. The first glimpse almost doesn't seem real. The water is too blue, too clear, too beautiful. The coastline unfolds like a painting, cliffs falling into the sea, hidden coves, quiet beaches, ancient ruins overlooking the horizon. The colors seem impossible: deep sapphire, brilliant turquoise, emerald near the shore. Sunlight dances across the surface like liquid gold. You stand there for a moment, not speaking, not thinking, just looking. Sometimes beauty arrives so suddenly that words become unnecessary. This is one of those moments. The sea has always represented freedom, perhaps because it refuses to be contained. No walls, no fences, no boundaries visible from the horizon, only possibility. You step aboard a wooden vessel, the deck warm beneath your feet, the scent of salt carried by the breeze. The boat begins moving slowly across the water. The shoreline drifts by. Mountains rise beyond the coast. The rhythm of the waves becomes your soundtrack. And with every passing mile, something inside you begins to relax. Not because your problems have disappeared, because your perspective has expanded. The ocean has a way of doing that. It reminds us that life is larger than the things currently occupying our minds, larger than our worries, larger than our fears, larger than our plans. The horizon stretches endlessly ahead, and suddenly the future feels less intimidating, more open, more spacious, more hopeful. Eventually, the boat stops. Captain lowers an anchor. The water below is so clear you can see the seabed. You step toward the edge. Pause, then jump. The cool water surrounds you instantly, refreshing, weightless, liberating. For a few moments, you float, looking upward, the sky above, the sea below, sunlight shimmering around you. Nothing to accomplish, nothing to prove, nothing expected, only this moment. And perhaps that is why experiences like this remain with us forever, because they remind us what it feels like to simply exist. Not as a worker, not as a consumer, not as a collection of responsibilities, as a human being, alive, present, free. Along the coast, life feels lighter, not easier. Lighter. The streets seem to smile. Bougainvillea spills from balconies. Fishing boats sway gently in harbors. Laughter drifts from cafes. The scent of grilled seafood mingles with sea air. Children leap from docks into warm water. The entire coastline seems to move according to a different rhythm, one built around enjoyment rather than efficiency, presence rather than productivity, connection rather than competition. And slowly, almost without realizing it, you begin adopting that rhythm yourself. You linger longer, walk slower, smile more often, notice more. For perhaps the first time in years, you are not rushing toward the next moment. You are fully inside the current one. The most beautiful places are often the hardest to reach. A hidden cove appears ahead, protected by cliffs, invisible from the road, silent except for the sea. The boat enters slowly. The water becomes perfectly calm. The world grows quiet. And for a while, nothing happens. No narration, no activity, no agenda. Only stillness, only beauty, only peace. Evening arrives slowly. The sea changes color. Blue becomes gold. Gold becomes amber. Amber becomes fire. The horizon blazes with light, and everyone falls silent. Not because anyone asks them to, because moments like this naturally command reverence. The sun approaches the edge of the world. The sea reflects every shade. The sky becomes a masterpiece that exists for only a few minutes, then begins disappearing, one color at a time, one moment at a time. You think back to Ephesus, to the lesson of time, and suddenly you understand something. Impermanence is not what makes life tragic. Impermanence is what makes life beautiful. The sunset matters because it ends. The journey matters because it ends. The people we love matter because our time together is limited. And once you accept that truth, every moment becomes more valuable, not less. Night settles across the Mediterranean. The sea becomes black glass. Above you, thousands of stars, more than you have seen in years, perhaps more than you have ever seen. You lie quietly on the deck, listening to waves, watching constellations drift overhead, and suddenly the world feels very large, yet strangely intimate. You think about everything this journey has given you. The tea of Istanbul, the dreams of Cappadocia, the warmth of Anatolia, the wisdom of Ephesus, the healing waters of Pamukkale, each experience becoming part of something larger, a transformation unfolding one moment at a time. And under the stars, you realize something remarkable. You are no longer the same person who arrived. Not entirely. Something has shifted. Something has softened. Something has awakened. The turquoise coast teaches a lesson many people spend their entire lives trying to learn. Freedom is not found in having more. It is found in needing less. Less hurry, less pressure, less comparison, less fear. Freedom is not the absence of responsibility. It is the presence of perspective, the understanding that life is happening right now. Not someday, not when everything is perfect now, in this breath, in this sunrise, in this conversation, in this moment. The coast reminds you that joy was never hidden in the future. It was waiting in the present all along. Soon the journey will begin turning toward home, toward ordinary life, toward familiar routines. But before that happens, one final chapter remains. A chapter not about places, not about landscapes, not about history. A chapter about what all of this means, the lessons Türkiye leaves behind, the gifts that travel places inside you long after the journey ends. Because the greatest souvenirs are not things. They are transformations, and yours is only beginning. Every journey leaves something behind. Photographs, souvenirs, stories. But the greatest journeys leave something else. A different way of seeing, a different way of feeling, a different way of living. And as this journey begins its final chapter, you realize something important. The most valuable things Türkiye gave you cannot be packed inside a suitcase. They travel home, inside you. Think back to Istanbul, the city where continents meet, where the ancient and modern exist side by side, where ferries cross between worlds. At first, it felt like a destination, but Istanbul offered something far more meaningful. A reminder that life happens in small moments. A cup of tea shared without hurry. A conversation that wasn't rushed. A sunrise witnessed instead of photographed. The sound of waves against a ferry. The warmth of fresh bread. Simple things. Ordinary things. Things we often overlook. Yet when given our full attention, they become extraordinary. Istanbul taught you how to slow down. Not because life should stop, but because some moments deserve to be fully experienced. And if you listen carefully, you can still hear the city whispering, "Slow down, you are here, be here." Then came Cappadocia, a landscape so extraordinary it felt imagined, a place where the earth itself seemed determined to inspire wonder. There, something awakened, the dreamer, the part of you that still believes in possibility, the part that had been buried beneath schedules and obligations, the part that still knows how to be amazed. As the balloons rose above the valleys, you remembered something important. Wonder is not childish. Wonder is essential. It keeps us curious, creative, open, alive. And perhaps adulthood was never meant to replace wonder. Perhaps it was meant to protect it. Cappadocia taught you how to dream again. Anatolia offered a different lesson, not wonder, Belonging. The kind of belonging that arrives unexpectedly, through shared meals, through hospitality, through genuine connection. It reminded you that people matter more than possessions. Relationships matter more than status. Presence matters more than performance in a world increasingly connected by technology. Anatolia reminded you of the value of human connection, the value of looking someone in the eye, listening, laughing, sharing a table, sharing time, sharing life. It taught you that belonging is not a place, it is a feeling, and that feeling can be found anywhere. People choose kindness. Then came Ephesus, the turning point, the place where history became personal. Walking through those ancient streets, you confronted a truth that every human being eventually faces. Time is precious. The people who built those cities once believed they had more of it, just as we do. Yet here we stand, learning from what remains. Ephesus taught you not to fear time. It taught you to value it, to spend it wisely, to spend it intentionally, to spend it on things that matter. The people you love, the places that inspire you, the experiences that shape you, the memories that endure. Life is not measured by how much time we have. It is measured by how fully we use it. Pamukkale offered healing, not dramatic healing, not instant healing, something gentler. The realization that it is okay to release what no longer serves you. The pressure, the expectations, the constant need to control every outcome. Standing barefoot in flowing water, you learned something profound. You do not have to carry every burden forever. Some things can be released. Some things can be forgiven. Some things can simply be let go. And when they are, you create space for peace. Then the sea arrived. The endless blue, the open horizon, the feeling of freedom. The turquoise coast reminded you that joy does not exist in some distant future. It exists now, not after the promotion, not after the next achievement, not after everything is finally perfect. Now, in the warmth of sunlight, in the laughter of friends, in the sound of waves, in the beauty of an ordinary day. Freedom is not having everything. Freedom is appreciating what already exists, and that realization changes everything. At first, these lessons seemed separate. Different places, different experiences, different moments, but now you see the thread connecting them all. Presence. Every lesson leads back to the same truth. Be present. Notice more. Rush less. Love deeply. Dream boldly. Forgive freely. Appreciate beauty. Value time. Embrace wonder. Be grateful. Life becomes richer not when we accumulate more, but when we experience more. Not when we move faster, but when we become more aware. Not when we chase endlessly, but when we learn how to truly arrive. One day, perhaps months from now, you will be sitting quietly somewhere, at home, at work, in your car, walking through an ordinary day, and suddenly, without warning, a memory will return. The taste of Turkish tea, the sound of a fairy horn, the sight of balloons drifting across the dawn sky, the warmth of sunlight on white stone, the scent of the sea, and for a moment, you will smile, not because you visited Turkey, because of who you became while you were there. The places were beautiful, the experiences unforgettable, but the transformation, that is what endures, and that transformation travels with you forever. Perhaps the greatest lesson Türkiye teaches is this: life is happening right now, not tomorrow, not someday, not when everything finally falls into place. Now. This breath, this moment, this opportunity, this beautiful temporary gift called life. And if this journey has reminded you of that truth, then it has already given you something priceless. Because the greatest destinations are not places on a map. They are moments of awakening, moments that remind us who we are, moments that remind us how to live. And that lesson is worth carrying home. Every journey eventually reaches the same moment. The suitcase is packed. The hotel room grows quiet. The final photographs are taken. One last look, one last breath, one last goodbye. And suddenly, it is time to leave. No matter how extraordinary the destination, no matter how unforgettable the experience, every traveler eventually turns toward home. The airport feels different now. When you first arrived, everything felt unfamiliar, exciting, unknown. Now it feels strangely familiar. The language, the sounds, the people, the rhythm, the country that once felt distant now feels connected to you. And as you wait for your flight, a realization begins to form. You are leaving Turkey, but Turkey is not leaving you. The aircraft rises. The coastline slowly disappears beneath the clouds. The Mediterranean fades into the horizon. The mountains become shadows. The cities become patterns. The roads become lines. The places you explored begin slipping from view. And yet, the memories become clearer, not weaker, stronger. The T overlooking the Bosphorus, the sunrise above Cappadocia, and the quiet roads of Anatolia, the marble streets of Ephesus, the flowing waters of Pamukkale, the endless blue of the Mediterranean. One memory after another, one lesson after another, one transformation after another. The farther away you travel, the closer they seem. Eventually the flight lands. The luggage arrives, the drive home begins. Familiar roads appear, familiar buildings, familiar routines waiting patiently for your return. Everything looks exactly the same, yet something feels different. Not outside, inside. Because journeys change people in ways that are difficult to measure, not immediately, not dramatically, but permanently. The transformation often reveals itself slowly, like sunlight arriving before dawn, quietly, patiently, until one day you realize everything feels different. You begin unpacking. A shirt, a photograph, a small souvenir, a ticket stub, tiny objects carrying enormous memories. Each item becomes a doorway, a reminder, a return. And suddenly the journey feels close again. Not because you are there, because part of you never left. Travel has a remarkable way of doing that. It leaves fingerprints on the soul, invisible, permanent, beautiful. Days pass, then weeks. Life resumes its familiar rhythm. The alarm clock returns. The responsibilities return. The schedules return. At first glance, everything appears unchanged. But look closer. You begin noticing things. Small things. Important things. A sunrise you once would have ignored. A conversation you once would have rushed through. The warmth of coffee on a cold morning. The beauty of rain against a window. The sound of laughter. The comfort of silence. Moments that once passed unnoticed now feel significant. Because Türkiye taught you something. presence, the ability to truly see what is already in front of you. Then one day it happens, without warning, without reason. A memory returns. Perhaps it is the scent of tea. Perhaps it is the sound of water. Perhaps it is sunlight striking a building in just the right way. Suddenly, you are back on the Bosphorus, back above Cappadocia, back among the ruins of Ephesus, back beside the sea. The memory arrives so vividly that for a moment it feels real. And you smile, not because you miss the destination, because you remember the feeling of wonder, the feeling of possibility, the feeling of being fully alive. The greatest journeys do not change where you live. They change how you see. You begin noticing beauty where you once saw routine. You begin finding gratitude where you once saw inconvenience. You begin appreciating moments you once considered ordinary. Because once you have witnessed enough wonder, you start recognizing it everywhere. The world has not become more beautiful. You have become more aware, and awareness changes everything. And now, you finally understand the title of this journey, the Eternal Gateway. It was never a place. It was never a monument. It was never a city. It was never a landscape. The gateway was always something else. A doorway between who you were and who you became. A passage from hurry to presence, from distraction to awareness, from routine to wonder, from merely existing to truly living. Türkiye did not give you a new life. It reminded you how to live the one you already had. And that lesson will remain long after the photographs fade, long after the souvenirs are forgotten, long after the journey ends. Because the greatest destinations never stay on the map, they become part of you. Perhaps that is the true purpose of travel, not escape, awakening, to leave home, so that you can return more fully, to step away, so that you can see clearly, to discover another place, so that you can rediscover yourself. And if that happened here, if even one moment of this journey reminded you how precious life truly is, then every mile was worth it, every sunrise, every conversation, every step, every memory, every lesson. Because life is not measured by the years we collect. It is measured by the moments that change us. And those moments are everywhere. Waiting. The journey may be ending, but the gateway remains open, always. And now we arrive where we started, the water, the city, the morning, the ferry. At the beginning of this journey, you arrived searching for something, perhaps adventure, perhaps inspiration, perhaps escape, perhaps nothing at all. Yet, somehow, you found more than you expected. Not because Türkiye gave you something new, because it helped you rediscover something that was already yours. Wonder, gratitude, presence, hope, the parts of yourself that modern life sometimes convinces you to forget. The journey was never really about the destinations. Not Istanbul, not Cappadocia, not Anatolia, not Ephesus, not Pamukkale, not the Mediterranean. The journey was always about the moments that reminded you to slow down, the moments that reminded you to look up, the moments that reminded you to listen the moments that reminded you to feel, because those moments become memories. And memories become part of who we are one day. Many years from now, you may forget the names of certain streets. You may forget the order of certain destinations. You may forget exactly where some photographs were taken, but you will never forget how this journey made you feel, because feelings travel farther than photographs. They survive longer than souvenirs. They remain long after details fade. And if a journey can change the way you feel about life, then perhaps it never truly ends. So wherever your next road leads, carry this with you. Slow down, look closer, dream again, love deeply, be present, because the world is filled with extraordinary places. But the most extraordinary discovery will always be the person you become along the way. Until our paths cross again, the gateway remains open,